Tom, when you heard the announcement of Arkansas being pitted against the TCU Horned Frogs in Houston, Texas, in NRG Stadium, just kind of what were your initial thoughts to hear the announcement of Arkansas's bowl placement?
Well, good morning, everybody. I would just say no big surprise there at all. I was kind of hoping that they would go to Fort Worth, but I understand the Houston game, and they had a good time there. As Sam Pittman pointed out on our Zoom call with him yesterday, they racked up a nice win over Texas and were shown good hospitality. I know it was good for the media on that one in 2014. Some nice, nice stuff that we did. A meal out, I remember. I can't remember the place, but had a good time. I guess that's not happening this time around, but to go against TCU, a team that's 6-4, big challenge for the Razorbacks. They've been playing very well lately, and so we'll see what they can do in their first postseason game in 4 years.
Yeah, as a sophomore in college, I wasn't quite old enough to take advantage of that open bar that Tom is referring to. But excited. And
I was there.
NRG Stadium, Tom, that's a heck of a place to watch a game. I remember being dazzled just by the facility that they have there, and Houston getting down the recruiting trail. What do you think about Sam Pittman and his staff's opportunity to kind of showcase themselves in an area that Arkansas's got some alumni in, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of suck up some recruits in these next couple years?
Yeah, they always want to have display well in Texas because you've got to recruit well in that state for sure. And beating an old Southwest Conference rival, some of the folks who've been around for a long time would really like to see that again, much like they did down in Fort Worth in 2016. So, and I really enjoyed the stadium, but if I remember, it was a night game. Here's my memories of that. It was a night game, and there was like a tortilla bar that we got, and I remember Clemson or West Virginia, somebody got destroyed, or maybe it was Oklahoma.
It was
somebody
Oklahoma against Clemson. I remember it well. It's 42-0 or 42-7. Yeah,
it was just a stunning score. Yep. It was a late game, and late deadlines are always tough, and so we're going to have that in this game as well. But a great venue, and, of course, it will always be a house of horrors for me because that's where the Falcons had a huge Super Bowl lead and did not hold on to it. Unlike what Skip Bayless posted yesterday on the Tom Brady comeback, the same place that he had the big comeback in the Super Bowl. No, that was wrong, Skip. That happened in Houston.
So Arkansas, I think, practiced a couple of times at the end of last week. They'll get with it this week. It's just such a strange, bowl preparation, and it's such a strange year. You're going to get there the 29th to play on the 31st. There's no parades, there's no build up. Tom, this will be the most odd bowl setup we've ever seen.
It truly is bizarre because I'm so used to the normal time frame of all this. You get the bowl bid, and then there's like a couple of weeks of practice, and then you have Christmas, and you could take several days around Christmas, and then you go to the bowl site. Well, no, I was looking on my TV last night for upcoming games. There's bowl games next week or this week. Yeah. They're starting very soon, and so I think the Razorbacks will get 9.
There's a bowl game today. The Myrtle Beach Bowl is at 1:30 today. Appalachian State, North Texas.
I will probably end up watching that game, but the Razorbacks will get 9 practices in. It's been a very bizarre year, but as Sam pointed out, they got some young guys, some scrimmage work last week, and I'm sure they'll do a little bit more. You start getting to know the guys a little bit better that are going to start filling bigger roles next season. So it's all good for the Razorbacks. The players have got to be very careful at Christmas cases are spiking. So they got to be very careful because, the chances of a team going out for Christmas and then coming back and having a bunch of cases and being unable to play in their bowl game, there's probably a legit chance for that happening.
One of the other things that's so 2020 is the opting out of bowls. So far, that has not been an issue with the Razorbacks, but it's as you continue to cover what's going on day to day, is that going to be something you expect to see with Arkansas? We're seeing it with other teams where top players are opting out of the bowl game. Will that become an issue with the Arkansas Razorbacks? Well,
I'm trying to quickly scan through my head and think of guys who are, going to be really draft eligible.
Mm-hmm.
And Felipe Franks comes to mind. He played with hurt ribs in the season finale against Alabama.
Right.
So I would expect him to try to play. I mean, Myron Cunningham probably has a shot at getting drafted. Jonathan Marshall, but I don't know that those guys would opt out of the bowl. I'd hope that they wouldn't. And by the way, Jonathan Marshall, one of the best, just a real low-key guy, but everything you hear about John Marshall personally, just a tremendous human being. So I hope he kind of does like Armon Watts, and he gets to the league and he gets drafted or gets with a team and makes it in the NFL like Armon has.
Tom, let's talk about some former Razorbacks. We're speaking with Tom Murphy here on the Morning Rush. Brett Bielema, new Illinois head coach. Now, I got two buddies that work on the equipment staff up there, and I woke up to the news on Saturday morning, and one said, I hate this. The other one said, I'm ready for Brett Bielema round 2 because he went to school with me and worked up there. What are your thoughts on the old Arkansas head coach ending up in Champaign, Illinois?
Well, it's a program that just has not historically had success. I mean, I saw some of the stats on it when I was reading about this, and it was pretty stunning to hear something like they haven't had winning seasons in 3 consecutive years in many, many years. But I do think that Brett Bielema's style, I mean, I think he can be successful there, but I don't know if he'll get to the Wisconsin level of success he had where, Ohio State had a little bit of a blip, and they took advantage of one, went to 3 straight Big Ten championships. So, but I do think that he'll make them a solid program. I think they'll be better in the trenches there. And I wish him success. I personally, Brett's a pretty good dude. I like Brett. So I hope they recruit well and they turn Illinois football into a consistent winner.
Tom, you referenced the winning seasons. They haven't had a winning season since 2011 when they went 7-6 under Ron Zooks. That's quite a time ago. Another former Razorback. This one's a quarterback, Nick Starkel. They win the Mountain West title. He has 3 touchdowns over 450 yards, which was a Mountain West championship record. What should Arkansas fans' opinion be of the former Razorback quarterback going out in California and having the success he's had?
Yeah, and fighting through everything they fought through, because they've had a lot more tougher COVID-type restrictions to deal with. And, Brent Brennan came in and led San Jose to the victory here last year when Nick threw 5 touchdowns. So clearly the Spartans coaching staff has pushed the right buttons and found ways to unlock Starkel's potential. And for whatever reason, within the offense here, they just couldn't find it. And the San Jose State game, super winnable game for the Razorbacks. 2 or 3 of those interceptions were down on Spartan's end of the field. And you hated it for him that day, but very, very happy that they won a championship. And I personally like Starkel, and just super happy for them to do that. And also, Alfred Davis, former Razorback, I hope Brett retains him. Obviously, they crossed paths here before, so I'm hoping for Alfred, who's a buddy of mine, a fellow Georgian. Hope he stays on with the Illini.
Tom, before you go, let's talk a little bit of basketball. Arkansas off of finals, back in action yesterday. They'll play again tomorrow against Abilene Christian. They had a little bit of a lag or a hangover from the break from semester finals. Sluggish first half, got with it in the second half. Poor first half shooting, poor first half defense. Great rebounding effort, though, throughout the entire contest. And Arkansas finds a way to grind out a win over Oral Roberts.
Yeah, you described it very well there. I believe that type of effort is going to get you beat against a lot of SEC teams, particularly the defensive effort in the first half. So it's good. It's kind of like what Nick Saban said after that fight with Florida. Sometimes you got to be in a dogfight, and that will help your team. And I do believe having to really scrap for it in the second half will make Arkansas a better team. Also, there was too many missed free throws in the second half. I mean, they could have really got some distance on Oral Roberts, and they didn't do that. So I do like, though, when they had to get buckets, Tate and Note were driving hard, and Desi were driving hard, getting to the rim. They just got to finish off those plays a little bit more. But we're seeing that they didn't go too very far on the bench in that game. So, you got one more game now, and this Abilene Christian team they're going to play tomorrow, really, really spicy team. They're going to have to come up with a better defensive effort and shoot the ball better to have a chance to win this game.
Is this team ready, in your opinion, for SEC play on the 30th?
Well, you know what? I'm not sure if any SEC team. Ask Kentucky if they're ready for SEC.
Well, we know
play.
that answer. They're
1-5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently it was just a meltdown at the end of that last game. But, they're as ready as they're ever going to be. They probably have a pretty good feel for everyone's roles at this point, and it's time to put it to the test through the SEC grind, man.
And at the end of the day, they're undefeated, and they've won every game by double digits. Mm-hmm. Like that's just a statistic. Like we're not grasping at straws because that was the worst performance they've had all season. But they're still undefeated, and they've won every game by double digits.
That's not an opinion. That's a fact.
No, exactly. All right, Tom.
It is.
Tom, Merry Christmas. We won't be here Thursday when we would normally visit, so we'll talk next week.
Thanks for the heads up. Appreciate it, guys. Everybody have a great Christmas.